In this movie, we're going to be installing Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7 with custom partitions. In a previous lesson, we discussed the Linux file system hierarchy. If you remember, I told you that the root, represented by the / is the beginning of the file system tree, and every other folder inherits from the root. I also told you that any folder at all can be mounted to a different physical disk or partition. In this movie, we're going to be seeing an example of that by using the following non-default partitioning scheme. Because different folders have different functions, it's normally advisable to separate some of the more important folders into separate physical devices, so that if there's a problem with any one of these directories, for example, if your users get carried away and start to fill up the home directory, the fault will be contained to just the home directory and the entire operating system need not suffer. Or let's assume that a process goes crazy and fills up the VAT directory. In this case, the problem will be limited to only the VAT directory, and the rest of the operating system can continue to function unscathed. So here in Workstation Pro, you can see that I've gone ahead, created a second virtual machine, and proceeded with the install of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Just like before, I'm going to make sure that I have the correct time zone on my server. Let's head into the software selection and pick server with GUI, and let's scroll down here, jump into network and hostname. I'm going to activate my interface card, and I'm going to set my server name to rel.argvite.local. Lastly, we can go into the install destination. Here, I'm going to be configuring partitioning manually. If you take a look here, you can see that LVM is the default, but LVM is a subject for later lessons. For now, we're going to stick with standard partitions. My first partition is going to be / boot, and the size is going to be, let's make it 500 megabytes. Alright, you can see this device will be a standard partition. You can also see the file system type of XFS. Now, don't worry about any of that for now. We're going to be taking a closer look at storage later on. My next partition is going to be / var. I'm going to make this 2 gigabytes in size. Okay. The next one is going to be / home, and this is going to be 5 gigabytes. And lastly, we're going to be creating a swap partition. Let's go ahead and make that 4 gigabytes. Okay, so these are all the partitions that will be created. I think we're done at this point. The rest of the free space will go to the root of the file system, and everything else that wasn't explicitly specified will get to share the same partition as the file system root. So I want you to go ahead and make the same changes to your Red Hat server, and then you can go through and finish the setup. See you in the next lesson, and thank you for your time.